Welcome, and thank you for taking the time to come and be educated about women's rights. My name is LaVerne, and I want to begin with a short story about me. I was the first African American woman to be hired in the state of California Department of Justice Personnel Department. While there, I applied for an entry-level management position, which was going to promote me and give me access to management, which my dreams and hopes were to be promoted to top management so I could gain the kind of money I thought I needed to provide substantially for my family. I had a family of three daughters. Well, guess what? Even though I tested well, qualified, and made first on the list, I was denied that promotion. And I was denied it because I was an African American woman. Wow, I was devastated emotionally and mentally. And needless to say, it had an impact on my family. Well, I'll tell you what, my story is just one of many of the injustices that we as women still experience in this 21st century. So moving on, I want to share with you a lot more information I found out about this. Did you know the U.S. Constitution, the only right we have still is the right to vote? All the rest of our rights are called statutory rights. What that means is there's no guarantee, and it can be lost. Our right to equal pay, equal job, equal credit, protection against being fired if you're pregnant, or equal access to university programs, including sports, law, and medicine. All of that can be lost, especially if a hostile legislator decides they want to go after us and women's rights. Okay, well, I'll tell you what. All this knowledge supports the fact that we as women should be a part of and included in the political and social lives of this world if we want to acquire true freedom and democracy and allow it to thrive and endure. Now, I've given you just a short glimpse of my history. I feel it's right I should give you a glimpse of the women's rights movement. And also give you more facts to back up why there is such a wage gap for us. The women's rights movement is primarily concerned with making and guaranteeing the social, economic, and political equality for women, and that equality be the same as men, and also safeguarding for women so that we will not be discriminated because we are women. Now, moving on, let me give you as I promised, a short glimpse of the women's rights movement in three ways. The first one spanned from the 19th century to the early 20th century, and it focused mainly on suffrage and voting and property rights for women. The second wave ranged from 1960 to 1990, and it primarily focused and broadened on the issues of sexuality, reproductive rights, workplace rights, and legal inequality. We're now in what is the third wave, and the biggest challenge for this wave is our economic equality for women. The wage gap inequality for women is huge now. Now I'll give you some facts now to back this up. The American Association of Women reports that in every line of work there is a wage gap. Regardless of women's background, ages, or education, there is a wage gap for us. And additionally, National Organization of Women reports that we as women make less than men. We're paid as women as a whole 77 less cents of a dollar for all women, 70 cents for women of color, and 60 cents for Latino women. Now, speaking of women of color, what I found out further was the Center for American Progress says that women of color experience a greater inequality. That because of we're women of color, that we have to work longer than our white women peers to earn as much as they do. And equally, we have to work even longer to match the income that white men. Take a breath on that. The center says that impacts of families of colors, and the impact hinders the accumulation of wealth for families of color, and the consequences are long term. The laws must be enacted to close this wage gap because you know what? Right now, the majority of women make up the poverty for this country. That's right. The majority of people in poverty are women. Shouldn't be, should it? Do you know what you can do? Well, let me tell you. Raise your voice collectively and individually. And write or call your Congress. Tell them to pass the Equal Rights Amendment, guaranteeing all rights for us women. And tell them it's time to pass the Paycheck Fairness Act so that it makes equal pay for us women. And last but not least, we as women have to self-empower ourselves. We have to work on our internalized oppression. Because once we find and know who we truly are, we'll be able to emerge our true voices, and we will be able to work against the oppressions that we face daily. We'll be able to build healthy relationships in our families, our organizations, and our workplaces. And men, please join us, be our allies, so that we can all work across our differences and build a solidarity movement where we can all attain what we so dream of in this world, in this United States, that we'll all be treated equally. We'll all be able to earn the kind of income that we all so deserve, and that we as women can provide for our families like we want to. We'll be able to provide the kind of clothing, feed them like we want to, feed our children like we want to, educate, get the right education they want, and we'll get what we so deserve. I hope I have enlightened you with this education and information I've shared, and I appreciate you for taking the time to listen. Thank you.